Alright. I gave it to go live. So, okay, yeah. I think it's live now. Um, yeah. Hold up. Yep. Yeah, it's live, I think. I gotta check on my just to make sure it's actually live.
It's going.
Alright. Can
It's
they...
live. I just got the notification.
Let me see if it captures your voice.
Hello.
Yeah, it captured your voice. Alright, okay.
It's such a huge delay.
I mean, it's a stream, so yeah.
you
Best not to
know.
focus on it so we won't get too distracted about it.
Alright, let me make sure my headphones are charged.
Do you want to do the introductions?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Alright. Welcome to the stream, boys. This is a podcast with one of the hosts of this story. They're pretty lazy.
Okay, alright. No, I'm not. I don't have to be here. Actually, I'm gonna leave.
You can't mute. This is your own story. You made this.
Streams ended, guys. Story's getting canceled.
Oh my goodness. Alright, today we have our very own host of the story, NeverLands, Jackal. Anything you want to add to this,
Wow.
Jackal?
Thanks. You
And
guys
with your
make it
co-host here of
possible.
the story, Deadeye, aka SK for short. We did have a special guest named Aura right here, but he's being a little bit of a sleepyhead today, so he decided to go to bed early. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to be talking mostly about the world building of the story with me and my friend. We were going to do
Yeah.
this yesterday, but he fell asleep and we had to end the stream short, so that thing is now deleted or unlisted. So, what would you like to start off, Jackal?
Well, I would say the most important part of the world in Netherlands is the role that beasts play, because they play a pretty big part in why the world is in the state that it is, and why things are the way that they are.
Can you tell me? Can you
Um,
tell us all about like what kind of time period these like our main characters are basically in?
yeah, they're pretty much based in like medieval times. Like we're talking, like King Arthur.
Like around
Yeah,
King Arthur's time, so like in the year 1500s.
no, just the year 15.
Oh yeah, just wait. So it's like year 15
Well, no, it wouldn't
or
even be
year
1500s,
500?
man. Yeah, it would be more like 500 or something like that. Yeah.
Uh, Jeez, we have a long way to go for like a 2000 era.
Yeah. But
But
I mean, if you count the way that like how magic is actually incorporated in the world, and I guess like would it really need to be 2000 for them to have the technology that we have now? I
yeah,
mean,
it really
yeah,
wouldn't.
it'll take some time still for like
But there will be
infrastructure,
reasons
but like,
why it really would go short will over time with the story. But basically, the idea of this is kind of my idea. It kind of explains why everyone basically has magic. You want to give me my first thoughts on how does everyone have magic so easily,
Well,
or do you want to go first?
uh, well, you can go and talk about why everybody has magic.
All right. The reason I think people have magic, and it'll fit well for the reason why some of the characters will have similar powers over time, but basically a god war has struck upon the lands of the between the living and the dead, basically heavens and gods. Basically, heaven and hell are not pretty much what you think it is in this kind of world. It's more of not just like morality, but more as in to balance out the things. So technically, yes, the bad people do go to hell, but they don't get suffer for all eternity. They just get sent there so they won't get balanced out with the good fighters. They're basically just there to make sure they don't get in a way with the good warriors. The dirty tricksters, like basically cheating in battle, they go to hell because it will balance it out more. But between like the devil and God, they have their two separate differences. The devil wants to balance over everything, while gods just want to let mortals be mortals and let them do their own thing until one of them stakes like basically steps out of line and try to get in fear with the gods. And ever since the God War, angels have been making arrows specifically made to counter or basically made for some of the demons that uses certain powers. And over time the war ends and some things get left behind and so does these arrows. And prophecy became a thing and they think these things give them magical powers so they pierce themselves with it. And over time magic just became natural. But the only drawback with these kind of magical things is you can't really control the amount you sent out for it. So say like if you have fire, if you unleash your power of fire, you might just accidentally use too much and already be wearing out your magic or stamina. So and there's no way in controlling it. You cannot control it at all because it wasn't even meant for you in the first place. You get what I'm saying here? Like, it basically wasn't fit for a mortal in the first place, so that's why it drains so much energy. I mean, if you have like a healing one, then it can be really good. But like, it's best that magic sometimes is not used most often in battle unless you have no other choice. But that doesn't mean like every single person has this kind of power. But yeah, that's kind of like my premise on how some people might have magical abilities and why they vary, differ, and throughout the story. It'll kind of make sense why instead of just like, oh, they just live in a magical world. This isn't Fate, guys. This isn't Fate or ReZero. This isn't Dragon Ball, unless. But yeah, that's basically what I think how magic would go. It might have been a little bit different in your eyes, Jackal, but who knows? Me and Jackal, we have a ton of ideas that kind of differ, but we know when similar ideas can make good ones. Anything you like to add to it, though?
Well, I just know, so since I'm the creator of the beast, I know I got thinking a while ago. No, not a while ago, a couple days ago.
Oh, there's sirens going outside my house, but continue on.
I hear. Are they coming for you?
Not really.
You haven't paid your taxes in
Not really. I'm just
3
gonna close the
years.
window, but continue on what you're saying.
But I was thinking about how, like, just beast and like entirely and how different beasts are raised, just depending on where you are. And like depending on what beast you are, the certain kind of, I guess, perks you can get. I guess that's what you can call it. So like the main reason why beasts are here is just because of greedy humans. So
Hmm.
it was like a cult, like a, I guess you could say like a moderately sized cult. And they were like, you know what? Humans are terrible.
They
We
rejected their humanity.
pretty much they did a deal and rejected their humanity.
Uh,
It's pretty much like humans suck. All we do is take, 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 but we never give. So how about we just do something worse than humans? How about we just become something that's not human, completely alienating ourselves and just becoming a different breed, just being built different, pretty much.
and it became a natural
That's
thing around mostly around the world.
mm, oh yeah,
But
but
like over time, the cult grew bigger and they became natural, and they just like fully believed that they were just natural animals. So
okay,
that's why some
well,
of them just believe that beasts were just born like animals and we just have the ability to turn into human, but in reality they're just like half man, half beast.
well, not entirely.
Not
See,
entirely,
what
but like just
happened
like
was
they can shapeshift into humans because that was
it's
main intention.
well, the whole thing was like they had a lot of sorcerers and like people who did black magic, and they pretty much took the idea of like the iconic werewolf, and it was like, how about we make that but better? And like we take different aspects of certain animals to make it better. So they pretty much took like the basic physiology of like a werewolf, like let's add some bear, let's look at a tiger or whatever, all these other animals to see if we can like sort of make a
Basically a
chimera.
necrofix.
Let's just like try to make a chimera and make it look good. So at first they can only really do it like for a couple seconds. Cause I mean the magic wasn't that good. It wasn't something that was supposed to last long. It was just something that like they could do. But then as time went on, they perfected it, and then they could do it for like maybe 5 minutes to 30. Now they can do it for hours, but
Now
now they
they
could
can
like
do it
do it for
forever,
days.
basically.
Yeah. But
It
then
doesn't
it
like
came to
drain
the
as
point,
much stamina or energy as it would for them now. It just became a
yeah,
natural
like it
thing.
wouldn't like kill them afterwards.
It'll just
Because
become
they
a
would like
natural
at first
thing.
it was just like power. Like we just want strong abilities. We don't care if we die afterwards. We just want to know that like who the reason why I transform, like if it was a person, that they survived.
But there's always like that one chance of a potential legend to spark up to become just a full beast instead of just being like a little bit of man, you know?
Yeah. And like it became to the point to where I guess like one day
A
like
legend
they
will
were milling
form.
about and one of the babies like having babies whatever baby popped out. It's a beast, like full beast. Like it's covered in fur, no transformation needed, no spells or whatever, and that's what started like the legendary beast because it was the first full beast that they ever had. Like they worshipped the kid.
And has like
They like
full potential of becoming a good warrior because since before if you they lose too much energy if they stay in their form too long and if they keep fighting in that form it's just going to drain more, but if you're like a full-on beast there's no restraints on you anymore. You just become an animal and there's like basically limit potential, but in cost you have to deal with the fact that you're literally an animal and you're going to go with your animal instincts. and you might just kill
Yeah.
someone you know by accident just from your sheer animal like. So it may be good from a standpoint, but like in certain situations, it might not be the best.
But like from then on, it wasn't required for people to transform anymore. They were just born as a beast. But like no one could like rival the legendary beast at the time. Like there was no there was nothing that that they couldn't beat really. So let's skip thousands and thousands of years. Fast forward to where not thousands, but a
To like
considerable
the
amount of
considering
time.
timeline we're in right now for like the chapters.
Yeah, let's like time skip to now how many beasts there is and how I believe what make the like sets them apart as different kinds of beasts. Of Roz's people who are the woodland bees
But they don't know
and
who's Roz yet. That's the thing. Ooh, we should have probably gave the main premise of the story first. Then,
okay, well you can tell you oh my god, you can talk about the main premise.
all right. Since we didn't finish chapter two yet, but basically after like chapter two is done, the real story begins. Basically, one and two are just like beginning plot points on how the story is gonna start. But like, really, I'm assuming like chapter three, maybe chapter three or two. It really depends on how long we're gonna make it. It's just gonna like really begin the story, and it focused like the characters we have, which is John, Arthur, Roz, and Quilos. Roz being a beast from his lost clan who kicked them out, and John and Arthur being brothers who are also seeking out revenge for a certain someone. And Quilos being the lonely child who was also with Arthur and John as family. They like to consider him as a real brother, and he was to them. And he's quite different from most people, but almost in a kind of good manner. So they have to go on like long adventures just to go on this revenge quest for something. You'll figure out what the revenge is after like probably chapter 2, but for the time being I don't want to spoil too much, but that's basically giving the main premise on who the characters are going to be and what we're going to be talking about when we talk about the beast culture itself for right now. So you can continue on what you were going to say, Jackal.
Alright, well, Roz's people as the woodland bees, they are fucking manics. Like,
Tough as things, man.
I came up with like a headcanon. Mhm. I came up with like a little headcanon that's like, oh, they're so freaking manic and crazy that it's like, if they found out like a beast is pregnant, they'll just be like, okay, so this is the unborn fetus. All right, I'm gonna inject a toxic cocktail of like so much venom and so much poison that it should be able to kill 20 grown men in under a minute. And we're gonna inject it into this baby. And if it survives, it's a strong baby. If it dies, congratulations, we stopped you from having a weakling.
No wonder the
Because
population didn't rise.
I mean, it makes sense. Considering how the training is.
Like, they may be incredibly crazy in Carnage, but that doesn't mean they're, like, not dumb at all. They're actually really smart whenever it comes to killing someone.
And since beasts can live so long, they. Okay, hold on. Before I go into that, but when Roz was born, since he's the king's son, all the little training that they would do just like tenfold. Instead of like as soon as you get born, walk across like just crawl, or if you're smart enough, walk across these hot coals. It's just we're gonna take you all the way to this active volcano, and we want you to walk across this lava, this river of lava. Yeah, prove you're strong.
Prove your strength.
And
If you fail, you die. Literally,
if
if
you
you fail, you
fail,
die.
and and like instead of like being like five, instead of just like taking down like just one like seasoned commander, no, you gotta take down at least five. The minimum is three. The maximum is just how many you can do until you fall.
Mm.
So like as he gets older, his father's like, you're gonna have to take over my throne, so I'm gonna send you out on this patrol with some other beasts so you can get the lay of the land and see how we run things. So, wakes up bright and early the next day, like barely before the sunrise, and he's off with the a general and the general's people on a patrol. It's a regular day. They go into a village. The beasts decide, let's have some fun. They kill, rape, and pillage the village. Raping children, killing women, ripping off limbs, and like using it as a fucking like chew toy. Telling people to eat like their friends, or they'll just kill them and eat them in front of them. you know, a regular day in the neighborhood.
Regular day, regular day.
Right, everything's fine. Nothing to see
And
here.
it's like these guys are really tough. Like they couldn't just like send out normal guards like to go kill them. They have to actually send out like royal guards to just make sure they could actually stand a chance.
And, like even the royal guards aren't really,
That strong enough
you
to take
know,
them on. Because
like the
they
most they'll
hunt in
do is
packs.
just
Because that's what they're good at. Killing in packs is what they are known for. So just sending like three of them or just four royal guards is not going to be enough.
it's like the most the royal guards will do is like buy time for like the regular people to leave.
Yeah,
But during his day of doing that patrol, he like realized how sick his people are, because like he knew that like they might have, I don't know, they
are you
might have,
talking about
he
like
thought they
Joseph?
scared. No, I'm
Oh,
talking about freaking
Ra.
Ross
Oh
or
yeah,
his,
Ross's
yeah.
people.
No, Ross thought they would scare them, like they would just pop up at their homes, maybe like destroy a couple of fruit stalls or take some of their like their cattle or whatever. He didn't think it was that bad. Like he wouldn't expect
The
it to be that bad.
worst.
Like knowing, yeah, like he knows the kind of man his father is. So he didn't think his father would just allow it. So he thought the guards and like the commanders and the generals are just taking advantage of him. So later that day, he goes to dinner with his father, tells him all this, and his dad's like, well, of course I know what's happening. I'm telling them to do it. I'm letting them do it. And he's just like, what's wrong with you? And he was trying to propose the idea. It was like, well, instead of like, I don't know, killing all the humans and having them be angry at us, how about we try to
Reason
do
with
like a
them.
truce? Yeah. How about we try to lend our aid to them? Because if they
Bro,
go to
he
war with
he
each
got
other,
lost when you said humans trust.
he's he was already angry when he heard humans and trust in the same sentence.
Like literally, no, that no human beings, no, no connect, no connect. Segregation, segregation.
that that doesn't make sense. Why would humans and beasts ever that just no. You know.
False dream.
But but yeah, like Ross was just trying to ask, is like, well dad, instead of killing them, why don't we just try to form an alliance? Because we know humans are dumb. We get it, like they're not that smart. that they'll just go to war with each other. So how about we join the winning effort, make sure we get something out of it, like, help them in their war. And his dad was like, you know what? How about you come with me, son? Took him to the sparring room and just proceeded to beat the living crap out of him. Oh, you want like it was pretty much like, oh, you want to show humans kindness? If you show them kindness, then they will never know their place below us.
Dang.
They'll never treat us the same. They'll never treat us with respect. They'll treat us like equals, which we are not. And as Roz is like getting beat up, he's trying his best to, like, I don't know, not get hit. But his dad, like, some people speculated that his dad was like the new legendary beast, which wasn't true because there's a story in the village that, like, one day Roz's dad just like strolled into like the kingdom, not burst down the doors of the old king, demanded to become king.
And
When that
proceeded to
king was
kill him.
like, yeah, when the king was like,
No.
no, who are you? He just killed the king. Just
And I mean,
just
at that
strolled up
point, if you
to
kill the
him.
king, what else are they gonna do? They can't stop you. Obviously, you just took out their best man.
Yeah, like, I mean, he just went up there, just started ripping the poor guy to shreds, tore off
He
his
got him the
fur.
smoke,
It's
so they
just
just like, okay, I guess you're the new king now.
right.
There was no like
Like
no royal
Roz's
bloodline at
people,
all.
like Roz's people, like, instead of like, oh no, if you kill the king, it doesn't matter. He has a child. No, it's who's strongest. Whoever is the strongest gets to stay in power the longest. So I mean, yeah, you can go the way of like, well, yeah, I have a son, so he's gonna be the new heir to the throne. Like, if you die before your son claims like the throne, then too bad. Maybe your son can try to challenge the new king, but like they're the king now, they're stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. It's like a royal selection. Well, not royal selection, but like a selection where anyone can become king as long as they can prove their worthiness by just strength alone.
As long as they can beat the old king, then they
Man
can
was
become the
old and
king.
on his grave. No way he was gonna win a fight. Man was already
I
about to
mean,
take his
beasts can
med.
get old.
Yeah, and after
Like
the
beasts
time,
can.
they just like, what's the point? I can't fight, really. I'm old.
It's like you don't like, even if like you're a human, don't act like an old beast is like too old to kill you. I mean, they're beasts for a reason. It won't stop them, but like hence, like going at it with another beast that's younger than them, they might as well just lay down and show their belly.
Hmm.
But yeah, as Rozzy getting beat up, he suddenly just like got like this very hot, white hot feeling through his entire body, and all he knows is that like his entire fist became fire, and he punched his dad in the eye.
God. And then he just like ran away, and that's how he like.
No, he didn't run away. No, he evaporated. He like sent hellfire to his father, evaporated his eye, his fur, and all that tissue, damn near bone, just there. And his dad was like, "Holy shit, what the fuck's going on here?"
Hey yo, why
And
can
his
you actually
dad,
hit?
yeah, he was like, "Whoa, why was that punch stronger than any punch I've ever done in my entire life?"
Like, and then he just really sees the true potential in him,
So
and now he
like,
doesn't want to kill him.
he doesn't want to kill him, but now he feels like he's a threat because one, he's not acting like an actual beast in his eyes. He doesn't want to use that power to help the beast. He's seeing it as like he wants to use that power to help the humans. So now he sees him as a threat and no longer an ally. So he was like, you know what, Roz? How about you leave? Why don't you go ahead and leave since you want to help humans so much? So Roz, left. He was banished and he did.
And he
And
found
I
Joseph,
mean,
just like, and then,
yeah.
but then, but then, like, really, Roz's father had a brilliant idea. You know what? My son left. He wants to go help humans. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make him help humans. All right, boys, we're gonna go raid the kingdom real quick. He just straight up said, okay, he wants to help people? Bet. Alright, we'll give him someone to help. Alright, boys, wrap up your troops. We're gonna go kill another village. This time we head in the big boy himself, King Arthur. And it's just,
And that goes,
my
keep
laptop.
going.
And it's just like, I guess that's like how the story will really start. It was just like, Ra's father finds his son. He has potential. Doesn't want to kill him, but he has to. So in a way, he's just gonna like, you want to help beasts? Sure. We're just gonna send a raid over there. And I guess that will, since now that we're talking about it, it will kind of make sense why there was another raid going on with
Mm.
the kingdom instead of, because before in the original chapter it was just like there was a village in the northern lands, and it wouldn't make sense because the northern beasts are very territorial and they will kill you on sight if you're just there near them. So that wouldn't make sense. And now we kind of change it around. Now it actually kind of makes a little bit more sense. But hey, it was a pilot for a reason. It wasn't going to be good in the start. I think.
But yeah, like, in speaking of the Northern Beast, we can go on to okay, okay. I forgot his name for some. Then we could go into Balthazar's. Balthazar is a character that comes in later in the story. Um, and he's a beast too, but he's a different beast. So let's talk about how he came to be because
I mean, he's
he
like, isn't he
is
like
different
late in the
from his
story though?
people. Not super late. I mean, what? He comes around after they
Like near the
kill
final
Roz's
act.
dad.
That's basically it.
Not near the final act. He comes around like a little bit after, like they kill Roz's dad, but
They
they find out that like,
oh,
hmm,
you idiot.
well, I mean this is still the behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So I mean spoilers are sure to come.
short come, but like, why would we make a spoiler for our own thing that's not even finished?
Well,
We can talk
anyway,
about
he
Balthazar, but just like we can't talk mainly about character wise and what he is. We could just like probably tell the backstory of him since we're never gonna probably explain it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was doing until you brought that up.
I was just gonna probably mention that before we do anything. We just don't mention major plot points. But yeah, continue on.
Yeah, so there's a few types of beasts, and one of them is another beast. Another beast are they're still beasts, but they aren't at the same time. Like beasts, like as a whole species, have like a really deep sense of community, and they really only need that like one person that's always going to be there for them and stay with them for them to like be alright. Like it doesn't matter what happens. Like their entire race can get wiped out, but as long as they have like that other person, they know they're gonna be okay. But once a beast doesn't have a sense of community anymore, they just like kind of deteriorate and go into that animalistic instinct to where they just become like an apex predator, like an apex wild predator. Like they don't rationally think. they are just hate incarnate. They're like the physical being of hate
So like the
and like
northern
some.
beast, but 10 times.
Well, okay, Balthazar's people aren't territorial. They aren't, but they are very hard set on serving the king because they are the king's beast. They're pretty like where Balthazar is from.
So
They
unlike how the northern beasts work, they mainly rely on brutality and ruling over everything. But the Balthazar's kind mainly rely on just royalty above the king.
No, you're thinking of the woodland beast. That's
No, that's what I said.
Roz's
The
people.
woodland beasts, like Roz's kind.
No, you said the northern
I
beast.
mean, that's what I call them since they're in Canada, Destiny. I mean, yeah, they're in Canada.
But yeah, the no, frick, Balthazar's people. They're called the Highland Bees because they live in the mountains. You know, makes sense.
Yeah,
But
see,
they
I
are
call them
very
northern
loyal
beasts. You
to the
call them
king.
wildern beasts.
Mhm, mhm. But
Basically the same thing.
they are very devoted to the king because to them and how they were told, the king, like, as, that little cult was spreading, they had to, reach different parts of the world, as they know. So it's safe to say that, like, one of the little caravans that went were told, it's like, listen, we know you're part of that little cult, but if you promise to use your powers for the king, we won't kill you. No one will hate you. You will have so much respect as long as you guys serve the king. I was like, you know what? It's better than like being out here and almost dying. So yeah, we'll serve the king as long as we get to continue our practices. And that's what they did.
Mm.
So now you have these Highland bees living their lives, and here comes Balthazar's mom. Balthazar's mom, nothing different than any other Highland bees. There's nothing particularly special about her, but she was forced to marry like one of King Arthur's commanders, and this guy is like he's a douchebag all around, and like they don't really respect their women, like unlike how Roz's people like have a respect for women, they don't. It's just women are here, like they're only here to make babies and cook. That's literally it. Take care of the house, make more kids, cook. That's it. And for sex, that's it. Like
Mm.
there's no other there's no other use for you. Like if we didn't need women to have kids, we would have killed you off.
Oh god.
They don't really have any respect towards them. So one day when like Balthazar's mom was trying to get away from all that abuse, she comes into contact with Balthazar's dad, another beast. They're always very fun to see.
Mm.
I mean, every time you see one, it's just you're just gonna die. There's no way around it. They're just gonna shred you. I mean, that's what usually happens. But I mean, if you count this happening, she was lucky. She was lucky all that happened was her getting raped and impregnated
Mm.
with its baby. Best outcome, honestly, because I mean, these guys are just known to be like, if you make eye contact with them, you're dead. You're just dead.
Dang.
Like, it's like immediate death. So, I mean, again, they don't care. They don't have a
They just
mind
show no
anymore.
remorse. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, like, they don't really have a mind. It's just see something, kill.
Life is just like basic objects, so they don't take it for lightly. They just like, well, doesn't matter. Why should I care that I'm killing them?
So, I mean, when the news breaks that she's pregnant, he's happy because it's like finally, it took you long enough to get pregnant with my son.
Mm.
I mean, all the constant sex we've been having. I wondered if you weren't like working properly.
Working properly.
So, fun fact, all these beasts are like their fur color is white. I mean, their skin color is black, but like the fur color is white. I mean, they're mountain snow. Makes sense. Balthazar comes out pitch black, like pitch black, jet black. It's like you're holding a shadow. So now everybody's just like standing there, like, what, what, what's going on
What?
here? So I mean, she tells them the story and how, she lied and said like she hoped it was his, but I mean, obviously it's not.
Obviously not.
So, so he is viewed like now he feels like he's an embarrassment because I mean he just told everybody that he's gonna have a son. It's not even his son. Doesn't look like him. So now he feels embarrassed, and now he treats Balthazar's mom with like little to no, like what little kindness he showed is like gone. Now she just gets constantly beat. Balthazar is not get ended up any better. He's forced to stay in his beast form so he could like as like public humiliation to get shown that like he's lesser than everybody else. I mean, he doesn't get like he's still offered education, but
Somehow.
like eh, but like they don't give it to him the same. They don't treat him the same way. It's like here, we're gonna give you this test meant for eighth graders, and you're in the second grade. They're like if you don't pass and get every question correct, we're gonna tell your father, and he's gonna beat your mom
Mm.
because that's what happened. That's what happened. So I mean, Balthazar was like had to get smart, had to learn really fast, and he had to deal with all like this constant abuse like every day because if he didn't, then he knew that like his mom would get all that abuse at home. And he's like a real mama's boy. And like
Dang.
even though he's half nether beast, he still like somehow controls that part of him. Hence why his powers is controlling the shadows.
Oh, that's what they're called.
So
Never beast.
yeah, because like it's pretty much like they just come out of nowhere. It's because they like come out of the shadows. It's like they are a shadow.
And
They're a
northern beasts are
part
just
of that
reliant on just
realm.
hunting instincts. So like
So
everything is similar about the nether and like northern beasts, but they're like different in the same way.
it's like Northern Beast has a moral compass.
What
I
kind of
mean, what
moral compass
Lord?
do they have? They kill on sight.
I mean, they have a certain amount.
If you
Like,
you can
if
just
they're
walk up
gonna
to the king and
torture,
just pimp slap him, and you could become king.
well, no. Look, it's like if they're gonna torture a family, they're not gonna kill everyone because then they just kill the bloodline, and we're gonna kind of feel bad that they didn't see that they just like wanted to see who looks like who in like a little game. But like,
So they can kill them later.
yeah, that's
God
their moral
dang!
compass.
You
I
said they
said
have
what
it. You think
little.
you said they had a moral compass, but they don't,
I said what little of a moral compass they have,
bruh.
but
They're just
nether beasts
insane.
don't
Literally,
feel. But no, nether beasts don't feel. They don't
they
have
don't feel anything. They don't have
like
no
like
emotions.
again. It's almost like they have brain rot. It's like they don't have
They
any
just
feelings
kill
at
for no
all. It's
reason.
just kill. Yeah, it's just if
So the
I
only thing
see
they
it
have
and
to
it's
like look
moving.
forward to is just like a king who just rules over them. Because they got nothing better to do. I mean, what are they gonna do? Just start throwing rocks at each other?
Yeah, so like one day, my Balthazar's like in his late teens. He's almost like a young adult now. And like what little humans King Arthur has in his army comes is like, all right, guys, gather up your men, like all the young boys. We're gonna send them off to King Arthur and see who gets to stay, who gets to become a guard or whatever. So, Balthazar's like, I'm well within my rights to keep going, like to join, so I'm gonna join. He gets in, like he tries to get in with a little caravan, but Balthazar's like, I guess dad is like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna stay here with the women. You're
Women.
useless just like them. So I mean, and Balthazar, who's been like perfecting, training in the shadows, literally, was like, well, you know what? How about I challenge you to a fight? And everybody's like, you went trying to beat the commander? Alright, this is your death wish. But
I'm
no
not gonna
one
be
knows.
holding back.
Yeah. Like, no one knows that Balthazar has this power. But he puts on public display as as the commander tries to move, literally can't, and he looks down, and he's getting pummeled by his shadow. And like Balthazar's like standing there, controlling this guy's shadow now.
Basically,
And
that
then
scene from SpongeBob where Patrick Leary gets beat up by nothing.
it was like once he go like once he passes his limit of like how long he can hold on to a shadow, he just starts beating him up himself, and he like tore the guy literally from limb to limb.
How
And
old
like he
was he
just
at this
stood
time? He
there.
was still like a kid, wasn't he?
Well, no, he was like almost like 21.
In like Beast years.
Yeah.
Mm. So he must be like older now, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
Dang.
you know how like they age slowly, so like mega slow. So,
Yeah. So I guess you'll be 22. I mean,
but
Roz is
like,
around like, well, he's like what, 300 years old?
huh?
How old is Roz? Like in human years?
Well, human years are all like a couple thousand years old.
So like,
Well, like maybe a couple hundred.
no, I
Like,
mean like age as in like human.
oh, well, I guess at the time where Balthazar's older than Roz, by the way.
Of course he is. I'm
So
assuming
around like the
he's kind of, well,
time,
no, he's not the oldest out of the group. I think like Diego or Quilos would be the oldest.
yeah, like around the time when Balthazar did that, Roz probably be like in human years probably be like 5.
And now that he's with like John and the gang, how old is he now?
But when he's with John and the gang, he's like I think at like 9, 8 or 9.
Not a 9-year-old going on this long adventure. Yeah, it means he still kind of acts like a child, doesn't
I mean, of course he is a child, but I mean, don't underestimate him in a fight.
he? Yeah, I guess so. He has the mental state of a like child, but somehow looks like a teenager.
Yeah,
And
as like not Rod, but like Balthazar, like has the commanders like just limbs in his hands. He's like, so can I join the army?
bro, you want to lead the battalion?
Like they're just like, we have to send this to the king. We got to tell the king about this. This guy literally just deleted this man. So like the king hears about it, he's like, "Oh, you killed like my top commander. You know what? Since you did it with such ease, as like the reports come in, how about you just become my personal guard?" And that's just the story of Balthazar. He served the king well, and did his job until Roz and John came up to the king to ask for help. And then he realized that like the king is a piece of shit.
I
I mean, he kind of knew it, but like he thought that's just how he had to be for his people.
mean,
But I mean, once
Joseph
he
thought the
realized,
same way. He thought like, oh, why the fuck does he only care about himself? But then he just like maybe he's just only doing this because he's in a tight situation. But no, he just did it because he wanted to save himself. He
and
didn't.
like
He
when,
doesn't care for anybody about his people.
and then when Balthazar really understood that like this man isn't for the people, he doesn't care. He was like, well, I guess you're not fit to rule. Killed him, and then turned to Roz and John and was just like, well, you guys are the only people here that won't tell on me, so I guess I'll stick with you guys until the coast is clear. I mean, he stuck with them till the end. In
To
the
the
end,
very end,
little did he know these were the people that would have a huge impact on him.
especially like
Because I mean, he
Roz.
didn't. Yeah, I mean, he didn't intend to stay. Like that's the whole thing. He wasn't gonna stay. He was just gonna lay low with them until like he felt like the coast was clear for him to go around by himself again. But I mean, that proved to be short lived. I mean, he stayed with that kind of mentality of like, no, I don't have to be with these people. I could just leave whenever I want for like, I would say like a solid week and or like almost 2 weeks until he was like, I kind of like being around these guys. Like even though they bring trouble wherever they go, it's kind of exciting.
Gives him a thrill.
Like you were just gonna stay because it was like, I like the thrill of this.
You know what?
Begin to
Power wise, who do you think is the strongest out of the group at that point in time?
Well, I'll also have to add technique and skill,
Yeah,
and it will have to be Balthazar at the time because Roz doesn't know how to control his own elemental powers.
John is not really an
But
expert swordsman at the time until he like learns it.
and the fact that Balthazar is older and had to
I mean,
spend so much
Quilos
time
does have the sheer
perfecting his
strength and
powers.
potential out of all of them, but he doesn't know how to control it himself. So
Like
like,
if we're talking like technical ability, it's Balthazar because
yeah,
he trained like his entire childhood with his powers, stayed with them, knew his limits, knew like if he were to try to surpass the kind of effects it would have on him later. So he knew himself and his powers enough to like get everything done efficiently and not like hurt himself in the process. Unlike how Roz, if he tried to, I mean, he can only do it like whenever he was emotional, so like mad or angry or like sad. Those are like the only times he can bring out like his true potential and powers. So Ra was only good for like again hand to hand combat, fighting in his beast form, the regular.
mm,
And like how you said with John, he didn't really become a good swordsman until
yeah.
later in life. So
Arthur only taught him the basics of what a sword should, how you should use a sword. He just purposely didn't want to train him so he can learn it over time. Because he said he wanted to become an adventurer, so he's gonna have to learn it himself. And that kind of helped for the most part. But mentally wise, who do you think is the most broken?
again, it's ooh, it has to be like out of all the characters out of like the three right now.
Because we have
Or
John, we have Roz, and then we have Balthazar's backstory. Or we can count Quilos's backstory up to like
I
now.
might have to say it's Quilos. Because I mean the
Yeah,
poor guy was born. His mother was like, "Ugh, it's weak. Take him away."
take him away. He
And
was like
then like
forced
he
into a
went
lie. He didn't even know it was true.
right. And like all he knew was like, oh well, I guess I look different from these guys and like act different. And then like he he thinks that's like, oh, I just got knocked out. I wonder like if they're gonna ever get me. And all of a sudden he hear like this random woman says that it's his mother and that these people don't love him. And I mean, imagine like you find your mother and it's like, wait, so you're the devil and that's why I look different? Well, that answers that question. But wait, you're telling me that you've been watching me this whole time and that these people actually don't love me? I mean,
It's
I
all
have to
been a
kind of believe
lie.
you here. It's like I have to kind of believe you here because like you're the devil, and I mean he never told me about you. Maybe that's why, because he didn't want me to know my true self and my true potential.
Well, he didn't know it was the devil. He just thought it was just like his actual mother.
I mean, wouldn't she tell him? I
No,
would feel like the
she
lie
told him she would.
would be
If
better.
she told him, "Hey, I'm a higher level being above everything," he wouldn't believe it for a second.
Well, I
Like
mean, yeah,
Quilos is
until
not
like,
that dumb. He's not dumb enough to believe that some person talking to him is just some god. But
but I
telling him
mean,
that she's just a spirit here to help him and gain him a little bit of memory of who she really is seems more believable.
yeah, I
Because
guess.
he's only gonna truly trust her if she like slowly gains it and actually just give him
Okay,
false memories about it. That's what I mean.
yeah,
But who do you think has the second worst? In my opinion, I think
Balthazar.
Balthazar. Yeah, Balthazar has the second worst, and then quite well. John has to suffer through the fact that all his friends died and then see them back again, but almost die again. Roz had to go through the
Roz.
fact that his entire race hates him, and his father was literally
Roz
going
is a
to kill
very
him.
close. Roz is a very close runner-up to Balthazar. Because I mean, Balthazar literally had to go through bullying, abuse, like just intense bullying. I mean, that's why his human form has so many scars. Because like whenever he like would shift back to human and he was caught, he would just get beat senselessly. So I
Ye-
mean, he couldn't really even go out without getting hit. I mean, he was lucky if like it was only like the kids his age beating him up, and not like the adults,
mhm.
or not his like dad. But
Yeah.
then like you have Roz, who like he didn't really have childhood. It was just train, 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 trained.
Eh. And
And
John,
he also,
John was just literally like 5 years old, and already he lost someone dear to him,
hmm
and he has to been forced to go on a long revenge arc about it. And he
it
even
was like,
loses a best friend or a family member he cared about. And now he has to force the fact that literally he's not what he is onto that person, and he doesn't even help at all. Doesn't even work. And then he had to live with the fact of all the grieving he had to do when he saw his friends die.
if we're talking about who's the most broken as like their powers, I think Balthazar takes the cake because it's like
Yeah,
how
because
I
he literally
explained in
just
like
summons Shadow and just like, alright, stand, kill him.
it's like how we talked in like an earlier conversation like a couple days ago how it's like if this guy succumbed to like his nether beast ways, he could just delete people, just delete the shadows, cease their existence, they never existed, level an entire city, no one knows, it's just gone.
I mean, the second to be
Like this
broken is just
guy,
like Diego. Because he's just like, he
Diego
has no
doesn't
true
even know.
strength. It's just like he's always drunk, but he's so powerful at the same time.
Diego is like a Saitama.
Yeah.
He is almost
He's
like a
literally
living
10 times stronger
embodiment.
than the entire group, but that's only when he's literally sober. Like not
It's
sober, I
like
mean drunk.
no one, like
Nobody's
you
able to
can't scale,
you can't
you
scale
can't
him.
scale a guy who doesn't even know his own power because he's never fully unlocked it. Like I mean, the closest he's gone is like before, like the days before he got like hooked and got drunk.
Yeah.
Like that's like the most scaling you could do, and even then, he didn't really show his like all his power. He only used like a small percentage of it, and like that got the job done enough, so he was fine with that.
Uh Broken abilities. Yeah, John will be the kind of the third because in my opinion, every other character has a balanced move set, like Roz and
Uh,
all the other games. John is just like, well, I don't even know if we can spoil it, but just like say he basically his power is to balance out any odds of a fight. It's to purposely power him up to balance out the odds of a fight he's winning or losing in. What I wouldn't say it's kind of broken, but he does have a lot of hacks. That's all I can say. He wasn't meant to be
Life hack.
broken, but he just like had to, unless like someone else had to step up to the plate. And I know Diego would
I
have just like
mean,
killed everyone.
I mean, if you kind of think about it, Toshi's kind of broken. I mean, the guy can make any ammo that like he ever wanted. And I like to think like since he like produces like bullets like the same like firing rate as like a regular gun. I like to say he has like blisters all over his fingers, like
Hmm.
especially on like the ones that he uses to like shoot guns. And he probably has like early on stage hearing loss from like I don't know explosions.
I mean, they suffer through trauma. That's the thing.
Well, every protagonist has to go through some sort of trauma to be a protagonist.
Yeah, you right. You right.
I've never seen a show where they haven't gone through trauma. Look at Stevie Universe.
Man's full of trauma. He didn't even have to learn anything about his past. Like, if he just said, no, I don't want to learn anything about my mom, Steven Universe would have just stayed at a M rate, would have just stayed for the read E for everyone.
Literally would have just stayed like it. No, it would have just been like from like the season 1 and 2 of Stevie Universe.
It really would have.
Would have just stayed wholesome the entire time.
Like, no,
But no,
you have to push the buttons and ask who is Rose Quartz, and then go on this long endeavor mission about Rose.
how he. It was a whole episode of how. Well, actually, no. We're gonna get a copyright strike talking about Stevie Universe.
Yeah, you're right.
Banned.
Band. Um,
Shadow ban.
mostly okay, we were getting too far ahead with the parts. Let's talk about how we should do the next chapter. Basically, not spoil too much, but basically give the rundown of it. So, we already read chapter 1 together, did we?
Yeah.
So, we already know what's left to happen. Our Joseph and James are searching around the fire, the building. I think we should go with the same route we kind of did, like, for the first one, where they just go encounter King Arthur and let him know about everything and how they need to get more guards out there.
Uh, I feel like we should also like go around like how much hate like Roz had to go through with Arthur.
Hmm.
It's like how he tried to like treat him with kindness, but it's like Arthur was just not having it. Like it was like, no, I don't trust you. I don't know why you're here in the first place. I don't get why my dad would accept a beast after so many of his friends died. by like their hands. Might as well be your hands.
Yeah. Yeah, because he did left Roz over to like his family's house, and for the time being, and like his wife is just like trying to make sure nothing goes wrong. And Arthur's like, "Who are you? Are you a beast or something?" He's like asking all these questions. And John is like 5 years old, so he doesn't care. He actually kind of taken a liking to him because big furry beast kid. That's funny, funny little attention
I
span.
mean, I mean, Roz can either alternate between like his full human form, his like half form, which like he has like the horns and the tail
Yeah, but
and like some claws.
he can't like fully change all his stuff yet. But he's like a really good shapeshifter for a kid like him.
I mean, he had to be.
Yeah, I mean, but
But
still,
I
like
feel
for
like
like royal
most.
guards, they had to make sure they know between a human and a beast. And the one thing they could never change was just their eye contacts or like eye pupils.
You mean eye color?
No,
Like
no, just
an
pupils in
iris?
No, yeah, the iris is like different. Think of it, it's kind of like a dragon's eye. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
kind of like that.
slitter.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like their eyes are different from humans. That's like the one thing they can't change. So the
I
only
mean, like Roz's like father hates humans so much. It was like you cannot look like a human at all. Like I don't care if you like have the horns and like the tail, whatever. If we see a humanoid face, you're gonna die. We're just gonna assume you're mocking us and like you want to be us so bad, but that's so disrespectful. We're just gonna kill you.
kill them all, kill them all. Don't leave no trace, no trace.
So I feel like as a way to show that like he's not gonna harm them, he would like switch to like the half form where like he has his like little nubs of like the horns that are growing in his tails. But like
Yeah,
he doesn't like that. Like Arthur doesn't like it.
because he
Cause
knows
it's
he's
like,
trying to like be their friend, but he doesn't care.
hmm he's not giving him a chance. And I feel like people read it, they might not like Arthur, but it's like you gotta understand. You just gotta understand from a human standpoint to how like they know how beasts are, how they act, and how like deceiving they can be. So if you have like one in your house saying that they're going to be friends with you, you wouldn't trust them either.
Yeah, and the only reason why Joseph's like wife accepted this because she trusted him. She wouldn't just like he wouldn't just like bring a beast in the house and just like all right, take care of it and leave without any reason. Like he's a royal
And then
guard. He's not gonna make it stupid things like that. So
you're
it's
not just gonna be like, "Ooh, I found a lost little beast kid. Let's just keep it just because."
yep. So he yeah. All right. What were you talking about?
I was just saying like how Roz could like is like generally trying his best. Like I feel like he would be doing like a lot of extra stuff to like appease Arthur because I mean he's got everybody else's trust in the house. He just needs Arthur and he like really trying to get Arthur to like him, but like it's just annoying Arthur more and more.
Just dislikes him even more.
It's like if he hears it's like his mom John Arthur's mom like went out to like I don't know like a market and like they didn't really have like any good cuts or like any like or like a lot of meat. He would purposely go out and hunt for like enough deer until like they had enough meat to last them for like a couple months. But then Arthur's just like, what if you poisoned it? We don't even like. Why would I want to touch whatever you touched? I don't care if you did it for our family.
But like,
Like, who said we needed your help? You're just trying to prove that you're stronger than us, aren't you?
John just like always reminds like Arthur, hey, we should give him the benefit of the doubt. He wouldn't. He'd been with us for this long. He wouldn't just pull something like this now, would he? Because John is that constant reminder to Arthur that he's still family and he's been with us for this long. So we can't just say that he's just a bad person. But nope,
And
Arthur still doesn't like him.
like Roz will like try to find a clear path for like their mother to like go to like the places she needs to go without like her accidentally crossing paths with like a beast. Or
Yeah.
like sometimes he will like beg to go to like travel with her if she's going to like a farmer's market. But like Arthur's like, no, you're probably gonna kill her. He's like, no, I'm just trying to make sure someone doesn't kill her.
Alright, hold on a second. I'll be right back. I gotta do something. Alright, I'm back. Alright, you can go back to what you were saying though.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
You was talking about the trust with Roz and Arthur.
Oh yeah, there's just not a lot of anything towards them really. Like Roz is really trying to be friendly with the guy. Like he's pushing him to be like, you know what, screw you too. You know, you screw me over, I'll screw you over too.
Hmm.
And maybe you could like explain a little on Arthur's point of view about Roz
Oh,
being there.
the reason why I think Arthur just doesn't like him is because the events of what coming forward in the later stories, and he just like tries to point the blame on the person who killed him. Well, he didn't really know who the person who killed him was. He did know he was a beast, but he didn't know who else to blame, so he just blamed it on Roz because he was kind of even though he wasn't the reason, he was kind of the one where the beast could find him because of his scent, so they just followed him back, and that was kind of the reason why Arthur just didn't like him from that point.
Hmm. And maybe go a little bit into the other characters' background. Uh, John, like John and them. Mhm.
Yeah, John as a child, he always wanted to see his father, and he mostly does get to see him. It's not like every shonen dad who just doesn't exist, but John will always like see his father, and his father will always tell him tales of the adventures he always had, since he was a high elite guard in the royal palace, so he had always time to make go to adventures, telling him all the fun things he ever do, and John always wanted to be like him in sort of way. So he made a promise to him that he'll be a great adventurer just like him. Maybe not a royal guard, but something better, you know? He always want to see something fun, and he thinks it's fun. But when his own mentor, but when he always, ah, but when he sees that over time that adventuring is kind of a bit difficult and, has high risk, he still looks on the brighter side of it. Because he still wants to be the greatest for his father. But it really hits him about the adventure part, like near the end of the story, where he just doesn't want to fight anymore. He just thinks that this is just getting too much risky for him. But he has already gotten into so much trouble that he just like can't leave anymore. So he has to end it all. Not in like a suicide, but like he has to end it all real quick so nothing else can be keep going on basically. I mean, that's kind of what it means because most of the opponents that John fights are not like really well, not villains, but like every villain he mostly fights, they're related to someone that he knows in a certain way. Like you know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about, right?
Mhm.
And it just doesn't help him for the fact
Yeah.
that they're technically his brother in some sort of way,
Mhm.
and he just can't bring it
Well,
into him that
Logan.
he can kill them.
Well, Logan, I'm not gonna lie to you. Today was exhausting.
Hmm.
I'm like literally 2 seconds away from passing out and never waking up.
Think we should cut it here short.
Yeah, today was exciting, I guess you could say.
All right, that's fine with me. Any final thoughts you want to say before we end the stream?
There's a lot to come out of the story. We're still somehow, you know, in the early work, so don't think that this is all just a run on. It's not. Everything's gonna make sense in the end. Mhm.
In some way or form, we'll figure it out.
Mhm.
And we have more ideas on the way as soon as we make more chapters of this.
Mhm.
But that's probably going to be it for now. It was nice talking to you, Destiny, for this wonderful podcast, and it was nice to have you here.
No problemo. I say the same to you.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be it for everything, guys. We'll probably see you next weekend. Next weekend when we make our next podcast, whenever we're available. But until
Hmm.
then, have a good time, and I'll see you on the next one.